Okay, anybody listening to this probably is fully aware that Seabrook Island is a treasure. The treasure for us as human beings, but it's also treasure for many, many bird species that come through here, like the red knots in this picture. The red knots will come by here and stop by here and visit. They're here now, very small number. Numbers are going to continue to grow through the season, and then by mid-May, move on to their next destination. So one of the things we realized, and a recent study has shown, that 40% of the red knots that travel down the East Coast will spend some time every year on Seabrook or Kiowa Island. 40%. That's a huge number. So these islands, the coast of South Carolina, is very important to these birds. Next. All right. You don't need me. You don't need to show me, I don't think. So South Carolina Audubon set up this program called the Shorebird Steward program. And you can see the dots on this map show where they are. You'll notice that Kiowa and Seabrook are not there, but Kiowa and Seabrook have established their own Shorebird Steward program, separate in collaboration with, but not under the auspices of the South Carolina Audubon. So we've set it up. The South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, they're working very hard to protect the shorebirds here, and we've joined into that. Next. Okay, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of the Shorebird program? Okay. We're to educate. This is a program to educate. We want to educate beach users about the birds that are visiting here. And it's not just the red knots, there's a whole bunch. We'll learn more about that shortly. The goal being to reduce human impact. If you think of the beaches that we have here, that's a lot of people using those beaches. And if you think about the birds that are traveling the distance that they have to travel,
that sounds like
this stopover to them, and they need to be shared with us. We need to share the beach with them. So, okay, the goal being to protect, and we're going to be protecting 4 species, 4 federally or state threatened species. Okay, the red knot, piping plover, Wilson's plover, and least tern. See, there are 4 key species. The red knot. The red knot. Oh, let's get down to the red knot. The red knot is a bird that most of the birds that come here are spending most of their time in the winter time in Florida. But some, like these 2 birds in this image right here, will make the trip from Tierra del Fuego in the southern tip of South America, stop here, and move on to the North Atlantic, to the Arctic, North Arctic, where they breed. Okay, so the next one we visitor is the piping plover. This particular bird right here is here right now. I think it's the 4th and 5th year. Third winter here. This bird is native, its breeding area born in Sleeping Bears dunes in Michigan, northern Michigan. That happens to be the most endangered population of this species. And we know because of this bird, some of them are spending their winters with us here. So this once again shows us how important our beaches are. Next bird we're going to look at is these 2 are here for this winter time. The Wilson's plover and the least tern are potential nesters here. These birds that are further south right now, they're going to be coming here for to lay their eggs, hopefully. They've tried and were successful at times. We're not as successful, unfortunately. Okay, next. Why are they here? Here we've got a bird, I think this is your picture, from 1/13/22, last year, just about this time. You can see it's got a green tag on it, PCT. And we know we can track this bird, we know where it goes, where it's been, or when it's been seen, and it's actually only ever been seen here on these two islands. But it was here on 1/13. Now look at it, it's a nice, robust bird, isn't it? It's got some nice build to it. It's looking healthy. So 4/13, 4 months later, the bird looks like this. A little pork belly, This is why they're here. They need to bulk up, tack on a lot of fat so that they are ready to migrate, because strong possibility that this bird is going to leave here, fly to the Hudson in Canada nonstop. So it needs a lot of energy. You know, stop power there for a little and go further north from there. When we protect those four, we end up what we call an umbrella effect. There are other birds that get protected. One of them, many of you are familiar with, American oyster catcher, U5, been nesting here. It's been here for a number of years. It's here right now with his mate, and they're successfully nested 2 years ago. They were not successful last year, but they are our resident oyster catchers. The whimbrel. They discovered that on DeVoe Bank, whimbrels aren't on our beaches very often, they're in our marshes. But they discovered that on DeVoe Bank, which we can just about see from here, that during a short window in May, 50% of the Eastern American population on that island at the same time. Can you imagine how important that space is for the survival of that species here? Half the birds are at that time. They also have birds like the black skimmer. We know that we've got black skimmers from Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, and Delaware spending their winter here because we looked at the bands on them. So those birds are spending their winter here. Some will actually nest in the area, DeVoe Bank being a big nesting area for those too. And birds like sandpipers. This is just one of many, many species of sandpipers, this being the least sandpiper, that spends some time during the year here on our beaches. And if you go out to North Beach right now, you'll see 400 or more Dunlin, 400 or more semi-palmated plover sitting out resting during high tide. We know that some of them will nest here. In mid-May, the Shorebird Steward's work sometimes shifts to monitoring the nesting species, trying to protect the nesting species. This is U5 and his family a couple of years ago, one of Mark's pictures. One of our success stories. So what is the scope of the Shorebird Steward program? Well, let's look at last year. We started it in 2020, got everybody up and trained, COVID hit, died. The whole program ended immediately. Last year, we re-ramped it up, built it up, and then in 2022, we did. And we're going to go look at what happened. So we were out between March 8th and mid-May, and during that period of time, the stewards were on the beach for 170 hours. That's not every day, that's not every hour, that's not every possible hour that we could have done, but they're out for 170 hours. And during those 170 hours, they were able to talk to 754 people, about 6 per shift. Okay? It's not a huge number, but it is still a lot of people that they talk to. So if you're thinking of becoming a steward, you may be saying, well, who would I be talking to? What are the age stats? Well, 675 were adults. A few of them were teens, a few were young. So we're interacting mostly with adults, which is an important thing to know. So we then asked, what are these people residents here full-time, part-time, or are they migrants like these birds that are on the screen? And what we found is 20% are residents, 14% are part-time, 66% are visitors. Now think about it. People who come to Seabrook Island who live here know the rules. They know about a lot of this stuff. Who needs this education more than anybody else? The visitors. So what this group has done, Shorebird stewards have really addressed the critical question, the critical group that needs to be addressed when they're out there to protect the birds, the visitors. What was the attitude when people want to become, they get worried, oh my goodness gracious, so am I going to be meeting a lot of mean, nasty people? What do you think the answers are? 99% were very positive. 0.4% were negative. So if you're out there as stewards, you can expect very friendly people to be interacting with you. And you don't have to worry about people who aren't interested in what you have to say. So what are the functions of a steward? We're here to educate beachgoers. All right, we're going to give you some training, and you do not need to know about the birds. Just because I've been doing it for 40 or more than 40 years, and I know all the birds really well, a lot of people get intimidated. I don't know as much as Bob Mercer knows. You don't need to know as much as I know. You need to be able to talk to people, greet them, and educate them about why this area is so important to the birds. But volunteers we're asked to work a 2-hour shift. We're hoping that this year we're going to have 2 volunteers out at the same time. We're hoping some of you are going to invite your friends to go with you and be steward, just so you have somebody to talk to through the day. And we're going to be starting in May 2nd, and we're going through at least the mid-May when the red knots and the piping plovers leave. But if we got good nesting going on here, potential, we may ask stewards to go on into the summer. One year we went into July 7th, if I remember correctly. If you're interested, what we'd like you to do is you can go, and this is addressed to you folks at home. If you're interested, you can go to www.seabrookislandbirders.org, go to the page on Shorebird Stewards and learn more about this. We also will be having, for the training, we're going to be having in-person training in this room on February 24th from 10 to 12. And that'll be for new people. We'll also have training, what's called field training, which will be when people will learn how to use the equipment, learn some of the ins and outs, how to work with the town, and some of the important things that go on that we need to know. And past stewards, we're asking past stewards to also come for field training to learn the changes that are happening on our beaches at this time. And the first opportunity for past stewards is February 8th from 10 to 12. Mark will be leading that. No, doesn't get into that one, Mark. Mark will be leading that, and then we'll be having another one on the 25th for new people and for returning, and we will schedule more. If you cannot make the 24th training, you want to be engaged, just tell us you can't make it. We are going to create as many opportunities for people to learn to become stewards as we can. So if you're interested, what you can do, if you're at home right now, you can take out your cell phone right now, scan that QR code, and it'll take you to the page where you can register for the 24th. For those of you in this room, when this is over, on that wall, and that wall, the QR code. You go up, so we're not all crowded around one. You may go up and take an image of the QR code, and you can become sign up for steward training that way. Okay, so leave it up if you can for the people at home, or you need to move on.
When you're ready to introduce the speaker, then I'll need to move on. Yeah,
I guess I can introduce you.
but we will send the link. By tomorrow morning, I will send to everybody who registered a copy of the link, probably not the QR code, because the link is easier just to click on and drop right into register. How's that, Bob?
Excellent. Anybody have questions? Yes.
Well, if you don't have your cell phone with you, I have sheets. We can sign up the old-fashioned way. I can send registration.
as long as your fingers work, we have a pen and paper, you can sign up right now, just see Leslie.
And the QR code is on the poster in the back.
Yes, that's what,
Yeah, and
yes,
So you've done it in the past, can you still come to the person's training to like refresh?
absolutely. If you want to come on the 24th and you're a former steward, please come. You're invited to